New evidence emerged on April 12th. An unmarked manila envelope delivered to the Metro D.C. field office by courier. No return address. Inside, a cassette tape, a hand-drawn map, and a single photo of Evan Maddox. Eyes closed, mouth sewn shut with red thread. The reverse side of the photo bore a time, 11:11 a.m., and the word, REPRISE. Audio analysts played the cassette. The voice was female, low, methodical. Possibly Rachel Kent. Her words were steady. "I'm not hiding. You're just not looking where it started. You keep chasing echoes." The map was hand-drawn in pencil, depicting a region of northern Pennsylvania. A red X marked a point deep in the Allegheny National Forest. Agents dispatched to the site found a sealed train car buried beneath overgrowth and dirt. No tracks nearby. No rail lines for at least 15 miles. Inside the train car, 23 identical chairs bolted to the floor, all facing a cracked mirror mounted at the front. On each chair, a set of clothing folded, tagged with names. One tag read, Agent Selena Voss. She had never been there. She couldn't explain how her name was on the list. More disturbing, each chair had an earpiece, and each earpiece played a single sentence on loop. "He's awake, but he's not him anymore." A laptop recovered from the site contained a password-protected folder titled Janus Echo. Once breached, the folder revealed hundreds of emails between an encrypted address and someone inside the bureau. Someone high-level. Someone cleared for Tier 7 access. The contents suggest a coordinated release of individuals identified in Project Janus as Resonants. Subjects exposed to long-term mirrorfield phenomena. Subjects who could no longer distinguish between memory and reflection. Rachel Kent wasn't one of them. She was listed as Facilitator B. A new message appeared on the Bureau's internal server at 3:03 a.m. No IP address, no login attempt, just text on a black background. Facilitator A has been activated. We are past the fulcrum. The recursion begins. That same morning, an agent in Phoenix reported seeing Evan Maddox in a diner security feed, watching the street. 20 seconds later, the footage corrupted. He wasn't on any inbound flights. He had no rental car. But across the street, in a mirrored window, he was still sitting there. A tech at Quantico reviewed CCTV logs of the Bureau itself. Frame by frame. In one hallway, reflection timestamps no longer matched the camera feed. For 3 seconds, time went backward. During those 3 seconds, Rachel Kent walked past the mirror. The building had been cleared. She was never seen entering. That evening, a burst transmission was received through a decommissioned emergency frequency. The voice? Noah Graves. "I see them now. In the walls. In the light. I see what they were hiding." The message ended with GPS coordinates. The address of a storage unit outside Fairhope, Alabama. Inside that unit, agents found a soundproof room. On the floor, a broken mirror, 2 syringes, and an audio player still running, looping a single sentence. Time doesn't repeat. It waits. And in the center of the room, taped to the wall in black electrical tape, 2 words. Tag back. April 13th, 5:41 a.m. An internal Bureau alert auto-triggers on the Tier 7 secure channel. The subject, unauthorized access to mirror index file, a document sealed since 2006. The alert vanishes less than 1 minute later. Backup servers confirm the breach came from within the Bureau's digital archive room, Room 14C. The room had been locked for 9 years. When agents arrived, the lock was unbroken. No signs of forced entry. But inside, the air was cold. The screen on the terminal flickered with a repeating phrase. Access was always granted. You just hadn't arrived yet. On the desk, a paper file sat waiting. It hadn't been there during the last inventory. The file read, Subject 0, Prototype, MAD 0XE. The contents were heavily redacted, but the summary was intact. Subject exhibits total hemispheric synchronization during reflection phase exposure. Uninterrupted audio capture reveals subject maintains consciousness inside mirrored environments. Subject is non-locational. One note, handwritten in the margin. Tagout failed. Subject remains dual present. Meanwhile, in a secured psychiatric facility outside Langley, a patient identified only as Denton begins screaming at 2:07 a.m. He hadn't spoken in months. The nurse on duty records the outburst. Denton repeats a name 39 times. Evan Maddox. Then switches to a question. Who's writing this part? A shadow appears in the doorway behind him. Then vanishes. The facility's hallway camera skips 6 seconds. When footage resumes, Denton is unconscious. His reflection in the nearby observation window, still standing. Later that morning, a bureau courier delivers an envelope to the Office of Internal Review. Inside, a VHS tape and a single photograph. The photograph is grainy. It shows Rachel Kent standing outside a courthouse, dated April 13th. The courthouse had burned down in 2018. The VHS tape is labeled Actuality Sync 1. When played, the footage shows a recording of Evan Maddox inside a bureau interrogation room, dated the night he disappeared. But the time code is reversed. Everything plays backward. He speaks directly to the camera. I never left. You did. You just don't remember how long you've been gone. He then pulls a mirror from under the table and sets it facing the camera. The tape cuts to static. Forensic techs reviewing the footage report one final anomaly. Evan's reflection moves 31 frames ahead of him. Simultaneously, a child in Rockport, Maine, missing for 3 years, is found wandering a cornfield. He's wearing the same clothes he vanished in. He hasn't aged. When asked where he's been, he answers, in the long room, with the chair, and the window that watches. The case file updates itself at 6:06 a.m. No one logged in. A new document appears in the Janus directory. Phase 2 initiated. Symmetry breach. Observed. Convergence projection. 3 days. And beneath it, one line in red. Next exit you. April 14th, 3:33 a.m. The Bureau's emergency operations server, located 5 stories underground, initiates an unscheduled mirror sync calibration. No personnel were authorized. No one was present. The process completes in 11 minutes. All internal timestamps shift forward by 7 seconds. An agent stationed in Observation Unit Delta reports seeing their own reflection move first. Not by much, just a blink, a slight tilt of the head, but enough to notice. Enough to not forget. By 4:02 a.m., the tape labeled Actuality Sync 1 reappears inside the secure storage vault despite being sent for off-site analysis. Its serial tag has changed. New title, Actuality Sync 2. Playback begins without input. On screen, a room with no windows. One chair, one mirror, and a figure, female, face partially obscured, voice distorted. She repeats a phrase 7 times. You never closed the gate. You just forgot where you put it. Facial reconstruction suggests a 92% match with Rachel Kent. But the hair color is wrong. And she's wearing a federal visitor badge dated 2017. The session ends with her looking directly into the mirror and whispering, "He's not the prototype. He's the recorder." At 5:21 a.m., audio files linked to Maddox's early psych interviews are discovered embedded within unrelated case files. Transcripts overlap across folders titled Reflection Events, Contingency Class, V-Phase, and Breach Pattern Echo. One line is highlighted repeatedly across all files. Do not isolate the reflection. It listens harder when it's alone. Simultaneously, Rachel Kent's old defense attorney, Harold Evans, is found unconscious in his home, surrounded by hundreds of torn-up documents. Every mirror in the house is shattered. He wakes long enough to mutter, "They told her to plead guilty because they knew she wouldn't remember doing it." In room 14C, a technician working to restore the corrupted Maddox footage freezes when the monitor flickers. The screen shows her sitting in the same position but wearing different clothes. Her reflection taps on the inside of the screen, then smiles. Emergency lights trigger. All devices reset. But the image lingers for 3 full seconds before disappearing. By 6:30 a.m., the Bureau holds a closed-door meeting. Only 5 are cleared for entry. 1 leaves visibly shaken. The others stay behind. Security logs report the room remains sealed. But an internal camera shows all 5 attendees leaving at different times, from different doors, from different angles. None of those doors exist. The session is stricken from all logs, manually, except for one trace, a post-it left on the wall. 3 words in block letters. Find the mirror. Meanwhile, across the country, a woman checks herself into a clinic in Tacoma, Washington. She claims she's been seeing herself in places she hasn't visited. She's identified as Claire Bennett. She went missing 5 years ago, and the reflection behind her doesn't blink. April 14th, 7:15 a.m. Claire Bennett undergoes preliminary evaluation at the Tacoma clinic. She's coherent, calm, but insists she never left. Her vitals match the last known records from 2020. No signs of aging. Her fingerprints verify. Her blood work doesn't. The attending psychiatrist, Dr. Lynn Mercado, notes an anomaly in Claire's pupil dilation response. Her left eye reacts 2 seconds slower than the right, but only when looking at reflective surfaces. Claire requests a mirror. When denied, she asks, "Then how do I know which one I am?" Back in Fairview, Missouri, Agent Miriam Lowe retrieves an unmarked envelope from her car windshield. No fingerprints. No return address. Inside, a Polaroid. Claire Bennett, standing in a crowd at a 2023 street festival. The timestamp reads 4:04 p.m., the same time Maddox was seen walking into the archive. In the background of the photo, there's a man, face obscured. Shirt reads, "Ask him what he remembered." Miriam runs facial recognition. No match. But the system flags one identical posture match in archived footage. A surveillance still from 2019. Victor Haynes's apartment. Same man. Same shirt. But Victor never remembered anyone being there. Later that day, a file previously deemed corrupted unlocks itself. Contains only audio. A male voice, distorted, but traceable, says, "You're trying to solve the case using evidence." She's solving it using memory. Then silence. Then, whose memory do you trust? At 9:06 a.m., Agent Lowe arrives at Victor Haynes's facility. He's missing. No forced entry. His laptop is powered on. Screen reads, "Sync complete." The hard drive is blank. But the cache reveals one last open file. Loop_footage for 43 MP4. She plays it. It's Claire, sitting at a desk, staring directly into the lens. Her voice layered over itself, speaking and responding. One sentence loops. "I told you the prototype wasn't him. It was always the question." Suddenly, the screen glitches. 2 Claires. Identical. Perfectly mirrored. One smiles. The other starts crying. Then both speak. "We remember different things." The file ends abruptly. Agent Lowe checks the time. 9:13 a.m. Back in the Tacoma clinic, Dr. Mercado prepares to take a blood sample from Claire. As the needle approaches, Claire winces and whispers, "He'll wake up if I bleed again." Before Mercado can respond, the lights flicker. The mirror across the room cracks from the inside. The reflection leans forward. It's Claire, but her eyes are black. Across the country, every single mirror in bureau storage begins to hum at the same frequency. All at once. At 9:17 a.m., Agent Miriam Lowe receives a message from an encrypted line. One sentence. Typed. Then deleted. Then retyped again. "He wasn't released on bail." Then the follow-up. "He let himself out." April 14th, 9:19 a.m. Security footage from the Tacoma clinic freezes. Every monitor shows the same single frame. Claire Bennett, standing upright beside the bed, eyes wide open, both palms pressed to the mirror. Her reflection doesn't match. The hands are reversed. Technicians confirm the loop isn't a glitch. It's embedded, written into the footage itself, as if recorded before it was captured. Dr. Lynn Mercado is found unconscious in the hallway. No physical injuries, no signs of struggle. But her chart clipboard is missing. along with her security badge and the last syringe of Claire's blood sample. Audio log recovered from Mercado's recorder. Last 10 seconds. A faint voice, gender indistinguishable, whispers, "She's not the only memory they cloned." In Fairview, a private investigator working the Maddox family's civil case calls in a tip. He claims someone matching Claire's exact appearance visited a shuttered library annex 5 days before her reappearance. But that building has been closed since 2018 due to a mirror collapse. Security cameras around the annex? Fried. Every lens, every sensor warped beyond repair. Internal logs show a file exported that day from a terminal that no longer exists in the system. Archive_recovered_7_doc. Later that afternoon, Bureau archives unseal a case file previously deemed irrelevant. Case ID B144Z7. Subject: Martin Lennox. Arrested in 1995. Charged with double homicide. Claimed he could see both versions of his wife. Pled insanity. Committed. Released on good behavior in 2014. Claire's high school guidance counselor? Name: Lennox, Janine. Married to Martin. Reported missing the day after Claire's last known memory in 2020. She was never found. Inside the reopened case file is a torn page from Martin's psychiatric interview. His statement reads, "They made her in twos. One to suffer. One to remember." And then, scrawled in red pen beneath it, "I let the wrong one out." At 10:32 a.m., Agent Lowe returns to Bureau headquarters. She's handed a sealed envelope addressed to her, postmarked 4 days in the future. Inside, a USB drive and a note that reads, "Don't watch this while you're alone." She inserts the drive. A video plays. Surveillance footage. Date stamped 72 hours from now. Claire. In the Bureau's evidence room. Unattended. Wearing Lowe's jacket. Her face is bruised. She walks past every camera. But only the reflections show her movement. At the end of the footage, Claire stops, turns to the mirror, and says, "He's not trying to escape, beat. He's trying to trade places." The screen goes black. No file remains on the drive. It's empty. Agent Lowe looks up, her reflection in the dark screen smiles before she does. April 16, 2023. 3 p.m. Bureau agents are tasked with conducting a full sweep of the archives, pulling files, re-examining footage, questioning everyone in the facility who has ever come into contact with the mirror subjects. There's an unspoken tension in the air. Something has shifted, something darker. The world isn't the same anymore. Claire Bennett has been walking among them for days, perhaps even weeks. She's everywhere, but no one knows where she's from, where she goes when no one is looking. Dr. Lynn Mercado's last known location is confirmed as the clinic's underground lab. Her badge, once scanned, now reads as inactive. Her body is missing, though traces of her blood remain, still fresh in certain areas, indicating she left voluntarily. The question lingers. Did Claire take her? The Bureau analysts review new evidence. Security footage from a camera embedded in the floor above the evidence room shows Claire, standing at the center of the room, her reflection bending and distorting, as if it's struggling to exist in the same space as the real her. There's a flicker, a shift in the timeline, a fracture in the mirror world. The screen glitches, and then the reflection ceases to exist entirely. The footage ends. But this isn't the first time something like this has happened. A report surfaces from Fairview's local news station. A series of unexplained power outages have been reported in the area, precisely the same time that Claire was last seen in public. The outages correlate with her movement. It's almost as if she's pulling the strings of reality itself, manipulating the flow of time and space around her, bending them to her will. At 4:45 p.m., the team receives a tip-off from a distant informant who claims to have met a woman who fits Claire's description at the burned-out library annex. The man says she was searching for something, whispering to herself. He describes a conversation he overheard. "Two of us. Two places. One stays. One leaves. One waits. One doesn't know." But then he says something that makes everyone freeze. He's not sure why he remembers it, But he's certain of one thing. She wasn't alone. Claire had been talking to someone else. The investigation reaches a critical point. Two simultaneous theories arise, each contradicting the other. The first, Claire is simply a clone, a genetic copy with memories of the real Claire. Manipulated, hidden, and altered to fit a narrative that the Bureau has been hiding for years. The second, Claire was never the real Claire at all. She's something far more dangerous, someone who managed to cross dimensions, taking on multiple forms in multiple realities, never quite the same but always pretending to be. At 6:30 p.m., Agent Miriam Lowe approaches the director's office. She's got a file in hand, a file she was instructed to destroy months ago. It's the last remaining piece of evidence from Martin Lennox's case file, the one that was shredded before it could reach her desk. Inside the file, the words become clearer. They are the same. The one who remembers. The one who forgets. The one who never really left. Lowe stares at the document for a long while, wondering if she'll ever understand. Then, for the first time in weeks, she asks herself the question no one dares to. Is the Bureau itself a reflection of something far darker? Something that shouldn't exist at all? As the Bureau team gathers to analyze the growing mountain of evidence, a peculiar sound is heard. A small, soft hum. No one knows where it's coming from. It's too quiet to be anything mechanical. The room falls silent. Then, one by one, all the reflections on the nearby glass surfaces of the Bureau, windows, monitors, reflective walls, flicker. The sound gets louder. At 7:15 p.m., a new piece of footage emerges. Claire Bennett is standing in the center of the Bureau's main corridor. She's looking directly into the camera. No longer the quiet, passive figure they once knew, she's now staring with intent. A cold smile playing on her lips. But the reflection behind her isn't hers. It's Agent Lowe. Claire steps forward. Her reflection steps back. Time skips a beat. Then it stops. The screen goes black. The footage is erased. And the sound stops. There are no more questions. Only answers no one wants to know. The Bureau falls silent. A quiet hum reverberates through the walls of the facility, as the agents who witnessed the final footage scramble for clarity, trying to make sense of what just transpired. But it's too late. The final glitch, the erasure of the footage, and the chilling reflection of Agent Lowe standing where Claire once did, send a ripple of fear through the entire building. No one speaks for several long moments. The unsettling truth of the final image sits heavy in the air. Claire Bennett's face is frozen in that unsettling smile, her reflection now inexplicably tied to Agent Lowe. As the silence lingers, the Bureau team members, those still in the facility, begin gathering evidence from the archives. From the files they've kept locked away for years, details long buried beneath layers of security clearance. Slowly, they start to piece together an answer, though it's one no one is ready to accept. It's not just Claire. It's not even Lowe. Something far more sinister is at play. The Bureau isn't just a government agency anymore. It's something else entirely. It has become a part of the cycle, a continuous loop where identities shift and reality bends in ways no one could have predicted. Director Thomas stands at the head of the conference room, eyes scanning the room of agents who are now looking more like the ghosts of their former selves. He takes a deep breath. He's been here before, he thinks, back to the beginning of this investigation, when the Whispers started, when the mirrors first showed their reflections. But none of them had any idea that this would spiral into something they couldn't control. He slams the file down onto the table, the final page staring up at them all, labeled only in red, Project Reflection. Everything we thought we knew was wrong, he says, his voice low but full of disbelief. We've been chasing shadows, chasing versions of people who never really existed. And now they've found a way to move between us, to move through us. The agents exchange looks, trying to comprehend the gravity of the statement. What does this mean for them? For everyone? A flash of something unexpected appears on one of the monitors in the back of the room. A live feed from an abandoned Bureau hallway, one that shouldn't even be visible anymore. There, in the distance, Claire stands once more. This time, there's no reflection. The hallway flickers in and out of existence, like a dying light bulb that can't decide whether to stay on or fade into oblivion. Claire's eyes, cold and empty, are locked on the camera, and her mouth, twisted in that same unnatural smile, slowly moves. "I told you," she whispers, her voice barely audible, barely human. "It's not over." And with that, the feed cuts to black. The silence is shattered by the sudden ringing of an emergency phone on the desk. A voice picks it up immediately. "It's happening again," the voice says, breathless. "We've lost the timeline, we've lost Lo, and Claire is, I think she's already found us." As the final words echo through the room, a pulse ripples through the entire bureau. One last flicker, the sound of footsteps echoing down a corridor. Then, once again, nothing. The screen goes dark. Outside the bureau's walls, the world moves on, oblivious to the chaos unfolding within. And for now, no one can see what's coming. No one except those who are already trapped inside. As the last remaining agents are left to sift through the aftermath of a case they can never fully solve, the chilling truth settles over them. What was once real now isn't. What was once clear now lies in shadows. And somewhere, out there in the darkness, Claire Bennett waits. For more chilling true crime stories, subscribe to this channel.